the whole point of being here live really is to harangue me and ask me any questions you might have. So I am going to just check. You can definitely see me. You can definitely hear me. I can see my sound going up and down. Do we have any questions before I kick off? I don't think we do. So hopefully I can answer as we go. Okay, so I would like to say welcome. This webinar is purely here to inform you about what SPL is and what it isn't, and to provide you with an opportunity to ask me any questions, and for me to give you a kind of unbiased view of how you need to prepare for it, because I come across quite a lot of people who unfortunately get given wrong advice. So in terms of what do I want to talk about? Well, what it would be a strategy to pass SPL. What do I want to chat about to you? I want to chat about how SPL really is very different from any other strategic professional exam or any other ACCA exam, to be honest. I want to talk about whether you should do the exam in June or December. I want to talk about what happened in September 2023. Was it a big deal? And what do successful students look like? Okay, so in terms of SPL, rather than me give an opinion, let me pass on what the examining team say about SPL. And basically, they talk about it being a very integrated exam, which means you have to pick up two bits of information and connect it and draw conclusions. Yep. So it's an integrated exam. You're behaving as a strategic leader. It's based in the workplace. It asks you to do things in a practical role play based way. And often you can answer some of the questions by drawing on what you would actually do in the workplace. And that is something that quite a few students seem afraid to do. So on my courses, I would coach students to feel comfortable and confident to do such a thing. And that's what you need to do too. Okay. Why was it introduced? Well, with another hat on, I do a lot of CPD with qualified finance teams on the future of finance. So for all the major professional bodies, and essentially in the future of finance, what is happening is automation, and this might be happening in many of your businesses. So basically a lot of the transactional accounting is now done by bots. Yep. And in order for us to remain relevant in finance, we need new competencies and new capabilities. We basically need good influencing skills. We need good empathy. We need an ability to communicate insights and get people to act on them. Yeah. So if you're interested, I can give you some stuff on that as well. Finance business partners in the true sense is what I do quite a bit of work with finance teams on. And basically, you need more practical skills, because you can be the best calculator of tax in the world, but you're not going to be better than some bit of AI or very powerful computer, which can do it 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Yeah, so the power of computing has exponentially grown, but that it's not all about the answer. It's about the interpretation of it. And SPL, I think, is a great exam that has, I suppose, evolved from the ACCA wanting to stay relevant. They chat to industry say to ACCA, this is the kind of accountant we want in the future. We don't want someone who's great at doing loads of calculations, because we've got IT to do that. We want people who can synthesize information, and ACCA does that or encourages you to do that, and encourages you to think skeptically with commercial bias. MPV says positive, might be something on PM or FM. Whereas, in real life, come on, we're never going to do that. And that's kind of what SPL is encouraging. So it's a practical business related exam. What does it look at? These are the areas of the syllabus you need to have awareness of, as opposed to learn verbatim. We need to appreciate about corporate governance, about leadership, about strategic planning, about risk management, about all things technology, which is evolving all the time. So everything from big data to Bitcoin, we need to appreciate about control. We need to understand finance, but from a commercial rather than an SBR kind of way, and also the things that are evolving, performance management issues, change management issues, innovation and how we become more innovative, talent management, all of these things relevant to a successful organization in the future. So that's what it covers. Oh, I also had something in red there. The ACCA asks us, as do other professional level exams now, to demonstrate professionalism by giving 20% of the marks for professional skills marks. So what these do is these provide a lens through which you interpret the answer, and very important that we learn how to deal with those. And I do lots of exercises on that. So the exam, okay, well, how does it work? 2 weeks before the exam, you get some pre-seen material, okay? You will get more material on the day of the exam. The pre-seen material purpose is to help you familiarize yourself with the industry and any terminology. Yeah, that's all it's there for. The exam is 3 hours and 15 minutes. You have 100 marks, 80 technical, 20 professional. You need 50 to pass. Okay, that's it. All questions are based on the same scenario, and the emphasis is for you to not regurgitate loads of theory, but to use theory as a catalyst to help you create an evaluation of the situation, to pass some comments on what's going on. And the thing that's going to help you is your theoretical awareness and knowledge. But just like in the workplace, we're not regurgitating theory. We don't do that in our exam, but we use the theory as a clever little kind of, backroom structurer of our answers. So that's how you have to approach SPL, and don't let anyone tell you any other way. Okay? Please, theory. Imagine regurgitating theory in the workplace. People would think, what are you talking about? Yep, it's a workplace exam, as I just showed you what the examining team said. That's the way you've got to approach it. You can use theory in your planning, but not revealing it in your answer. Okay, so remember that one, really important. The pre-seen material, no big deal. What it isn't something to give you loads of clues as to what questions are coming up. There used to be the exam prior to September 2023, where you got a very long exam up to 14 pages. It was 4 hours. And it was maybe thought for people who don't have English as a first language, a little unfair to make people digest 14 pages of information, plan answers, and then write answers, when that's not really how it is in the workplace. In the workplace, people would have time to digest and understand what's going on. That's what the new exam does. Yeah, so it's not a heads up question spotting exercise. What do you get on the day of the exam? You get more exhibits. So a little bit more information, just to add a little bit extra to what you have seen in the pre-seen. You will be asked to complete 3 tasks, roughly of a similar length, and you will get a fresh version of the pre-seen material. So if you've done loads of scribbles on it, well, you won't be able to take that in. Okay, so that's how it looks like. What are you going to be using? You're going to be using things like you'd be using in the workplace. So, you might have to do slides. You might have to do an email, a report, a press release, those kinds of things. So they're what we have to do in the workplace. Lots of preparation on that, don't worry. In terms of how you're going to communicate, maybe you're going to communicate, or how are you going to be communicated to, rather. The exhibits might be a newspaper article. They might be a chairman's statement. They might be minutes from a meeting, just like you would get in the workplace. Yeah, so that's how it's going to work. What else do I want to say? Well, the key difference between strategic business leader and other ACCA exams is the rationale behind it. Okay. In other exams, 1-on-1 is very much 2, whereas on strategic business leader, you are applying knowledge in the context of being a leader. So a leader is not some regurgitating robot. A leader is someone that has considered the situation and passes on an opinion. Okay. Very different. Yep. It's always an opinion in the context of the workplace, using the professionalism we're asked to use. And you cannot just learn theory. So please, people come to me who failed the exam multiple times and they don't understand why they failed it, because not only did they learn the Kaplan book, but they learned the BPP book. That's why they failed it. Would you learn lots of books how to drive and expect to pass your driving test? No, you wouldn't. Yeah. Would you learn lots of books on how to swim? No, you wouldn't. You get in and practice. And that's what I do on my courses. So make sure whatever you do in preparing for this, you do that and you get proper feedback. If you put my name into ACCA Student Accountant, lots of articles I've written for the ACCA on exam preparation. Yeah. So do that. Have a look at ACCA resources to give you a broader understanding of the world out there. ACCA give loads of great resources. Accounting and Business magazine. They give articles on technology, on current issues. That's kind of what an SPL student will be good at. Yeah, you probably might know something about cybersecurity and the impact of it, but it's just good to have a broader perspective than some, technical tax rule or new IAS or whatever. Okay. If you are not going to do SPL for a little while, it's definitely useful to consider doing the Ethics and Professional Skills module, EPSM. You have to do this to qualify, and it's actually quite useful for SPL. I'm not saying you have to complete it before you do SPL, but certainly try to do it, as a kind of ongoing couple of hours a week thing if you're not doing SPL till maybe September or something like that. But it is definitely useful and gets your mind in the right condition, I would say, for SPL. Should you take the exam in June or September? Well, it's an interesting one, this. After results, people ask me this question. Firstly, my position would be, if I was in your shoes, I probably want to qualify as quickly as possible. Why? Because I want to start earning a qualified accountant's salary as quickly as possible. And that could mean I'm going to double, even triple my salary in the next 2 to 5 years. Very realistic. And also, I hate studying and I want to get it out of the way. So I don't want to discourage anyone trying to do it in June. There isn't so much technical content to absorb like there might be in, say, advanced tax. I would completely say, don't try and do advanced tax in June, because we've got 6 or 7 weeks till the exam. But if you're prepared to pull your finger out, if you've maybe done a business degree, if you're comfortable in getting involved in discursive argument in the world of business, June is not out of the question. But if you're going on holiday in the next 6 or 7 weeks, it probably is. If you want a more slow and steady approach, maybe think about September. But don't let me block you if you really want to do it. Okay. What were the big changes in September 2023? I've kind of said to you, it's gone from a 14-page exam to a much shorter one. You get pre-seen material. It's gone from a 4-hour exam to a 3.25-hour exam. It's not really relevant, but if you were coming from before September 2023, I've got a YouTube video on it. There's an ACCA video I think I've recorded on it as well. So have a look at that. What does a successful student look like so you can be more like them? Well, they tend to be pretty motivated. So what I'd say to you is, why are you doing this? Yeah. What's your reason? If it's money to double or triple your salary, fine. If it's to go traveling, fine. Whatever it is, find your why, because that's going to help you through those kind of days where you really can't be bothered. So you'll also be personally organized. You'll have a timetable, not just for study, but for work, rest, and play. Really important. If we do that, what that does is it creates a routine. What's great about a routine? When we have routines established, we do not need any willpower. So we get up and we brush our teeth. No one forces us to brush our teeth when we wake up. We just do it. If you've ever trained for a marathon, once you've got that routine going, you just do it. You just do it. Think about where you study. So we need to have little mental triggers that it's time for study. So try and study in the same place. Try and keep your workspace clean where you study, and then leave it, and that's the study mode off. Okay. What else apart from being personally motivated and personally organized? Well, I think you should take an ACCA approved approach. I do a lot of work for the ACCA, working, training tutors and training students in different countries. And I'm often amazed that despite all the great resources the ACCA put out there, people refer to like Tom, Dick and Harry on Facebook. Stick to ACCA approved resources, please. What kind of resources? Well, let me tell you a bit about me and then see whether you can find similar traits in people on Facebook or whatever. I've been lecturing for 25 years. I'm a PQ Lecturer of the Year. I am employed by the ACCA to train tutors and how to teach SPL. And I do like special projects to help students improve pass rates. And also I run my own platinum approved course. So that's the highest level course that you can get approved on. Okay, I'm not trying to big myself up here. What I'm saying is there's a lot of experts on Facebook. I would ask you to put their name into the ACCA website. Have the ACCA ever published an article by them? Do they, appear on the website? Do they appear in Student Accountant? Do they appear on the ACCA official YouTube channel? If they don't, you might want to ask, why don't they, if they're that good? Yeah. There's unfortunately sometimes only a credible website there, and there's a lot of fake news. So in preparation, use official ACCA approved resources would be my tip. You're giving all this time and effort up. Don't waste it on stuff, stuff that's free. Yeah, you're going to double or triple your salary. Yeah. Why are you going? So, I want to pass my driving test. So, and it's going to get me a really good job, or I'm just going to, speak to Mr. Jones next door and he's going to give me lessons for free. Or you're going to find the best driving instructor to get you past your test so you can get that best driving job. Come on, think about it like that. It's a small sacrifice to pay. If you want, I do give lots of free stuff, to be honest. If you want to look at all my free stuff, have a look on my link tree where you can get access to podcasts, to YouTubes, to all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So have a look on that. So I'm just going to, having said all of that, just take a very brief break on, do you have any questions? So I just want to very quickly unshare or stop sharing my screen. And let's see what questions we might have. Oh, it's a bit blurry. I found my chat box. So let me put my chat box back up. I can see some chat in there. Let me have a look. If you can put it. So, Joanna, is it too late to write in June? All I need to improve is my exam technique and practice doing questions. Joanna, if you have got familiarity with SPL and you have done it before, let me not be the person that discourages you from getting the exam out of the way. The theory, but it's about the application. Last time you studied was 12 years ago at university. Well, Joanna, you might really have great experience and great knowledge that if you can be encouraged to use that in your answers, you'll be surprised. So I would say no. Hey, send me a WhatsApp and we can discuss that further. Charlie, you ran out of time. I've just actually done a kind of revision reset webinar, which I'll put a recording on YouTube as well. But time management is a big killer. I'm a big advocate of you need to get over 50 on all of the tasks. If you do that, you pass the exam. How do you do that? Well, I'm not going to. This is kind of, you haven't taken SPL before. What do you need to do? But time management is key. in order to get good at time management, you need to practice doing mock exams, and you need to get proper feedback on how you did in those exams. And if you do that, you'll learn in the same way, wing mirrors, rear view mirror, gear stick, accelerator, clutch. Oh my God, I don't know what to do, but with practice, I get better. So it's tragic. You got 46, Charlie. You have no problem with your knowledge, but you might have a little bit of problem. So I would have a very clear time. Have a look at the as this, specific to revision. I did record something on time management. Yep. My WhatsApp on the slide, Joanna, where I gave a link tree, that's got all of my contact details. So you'll be able to get all of those through Linktree. I'll come back onto the screen. But yep, time management is a killer. The other killer would be not reading the question, and there's techniques in the exam we get a bit stressed. The other killer would be poor layout and not good mark focus. So I'm sorry about that, Charlie, but with practice, you should not screw up on your time management. Okay. All righty. Is that, I think that's dealing with those. Let me just share things again. I'm just going to share a little bit there, and I'm going to go back to where I was. Slideshow. So hopefully that's all clear. What else? Yeah, I had a couple of other questions about marks and points. I'll say that in a moment. But in terms of a course, if you were doing a course, I'm not saying do a course with me, but maybe benchmark a course that you're considering doing with what I do. Yeah, I've done it a long time, and I've created a course which I think is the best course. It's platinum approved, which is the highest approval you can get. I record videos, which make it a lot easier for you to digest stuff. I give marked homework, not just saying you got 50%, with lots of feedback, which is important. You get 3 full mocks on the CBE platform. Now, most people don't do mocks on the CBE platform because the CBE platform run by the ACCA is a bit clunky, and it is quite administratively burdensome to set mocks up on it. But that's your exam. So if you were taking a driving test in a car and it's a bit of a hassle for me to get you a car and I gave you a motorbike, I don't think I would be being genuine. So that's why I do that. When you're watching videos and you don't maybe really understand something I've said, well, you've got me in your pocket because you just WhatsApp me and I get right back to you right up until the day of the exam. Yeah. So that's a pretty, benefit of modern technology. You can study when you want. You can ask me questions when you want, wherever you live in the world. So that's a beauty of online, I would suggest. We do have little Zoom chats after the mocks. But yeah, I mean, if you do what I say, you'll be absolutely fine. It's all broken into little chunks. If you have a bad day for whatever reason, technology, whatever, and you've done the mocks and you've done the homework, well, if you've done the mocks and done the homework, you will pass the exam. But just in case you had some temporary lapse, as long as you get over 40 and you do all the mocks and all the homework, you can do it all again for free. How do mocks work? Well, you've got to do mocks. Yep. And the way they work is I create 3 never seen before mocks. The final one, I'm going to use the June, if you're doing it in June, the June 24 paper, or the September 24 pre-seen material paper. They're done on the ACCA SBL platform. They're not just marked. They are marked, but yeah, I often find, well, okay, well, you only gave me 1. What did I do well? What did I not do well? You'll get loads of feedback and comments, and it's not just me, it's SPL actual markers doing it. Yeah. So that is a true reflection of what you get. And then you'll get a video debrief. You'll get that to all questions, actually, because SPL, there's not just one answer. Could have gone down that road and you would have got credit for it. Had you gone down this road, well, again, you would have got credit had you done this or done that. Okay. So are you getting all of that? Hopefully you are. And I'll not just, I'll give you maybe sometimes an ACCA technical answer, but often they're not expectations of student answers. So I will give you realistic answers that you should be able to do. Yeah. And we'll do a little bit of kind of cross-examination in Zoom debrief chats about those mocks. Yeah. So people say, how can I contact me if they have a problem? WhatsApp support right up to the day of the exam. Yep. Having Zoom chats about the mocks. Yep. So that's what I would benchmark yourself against. In terms of, if I just reiterate what I would like you to do, where do we talk about it here? You need to be personally organized. You need to be personally motivated, and you need to think about, sorry, I've jumped one. You need to be thinking about the resources. If you're giving up time and money to try to pass this, just spend it wisely. Okay. Yeah, could you do it in June? Yes, you can, but there's no holidays. It's not a stroll in the park. You are going to be doing, a jog for the next 6 weeks or so, but it's doable. And, but if you did a course with me, for example, and, it's intense, but it's doable. Yeah. So think about that. But don't procrastinate. Yeah. Take action soon. And, the exam, even September, is getting closer. Okay. So someone wanted you were wanting me to reshare my details. If you go on Linktree, Mr. Sean Purcell, you will find my website, you'll find my email, you'll find my WhatsApp number, you'll find my YouTube channel, you'll find my podcast channel. Much of that is free. And whichever way you take on board your information, you can find all of that there. So hopefully that helps. But if we have any more questions, let me just unshare my screen. So in terms of what a platinum course includes, and just maybe use this as a benchmark when looking at other courses, I would include over 90 professionally recorded videos. You would not just get marked homework. So by that, I mean, you don't just get a mark, you get lots and lots of feedback, which on SPL is critical for you to improve. In addition to homeworks, you're going to get 3 fully timed mocks on the ACCA SBL platform, and that's going to be marked by actual SPL markers. If you have any questions on anything during the course, just WhatsApp me whenever you want and I'll get right back to you. And if you do all that, I'm so convinced that you will pass that if you have any problems, you can do the whole course, including all the mocks and all the marked homeworks for free. So, you could have some technical issue or something like that. You get full pass assurance if you get over 40 in the exam and you do all the homeworks and all the mocks. So compare that with other courses. I think that's a pretty good offering. I had a question about how do mocks work? Well, mocks are given to you in the same way they're given to you in the exam. I create pre-seen material. You can digest that a week before. And then you have never seen before tasks related to that pre-seen. The final mock you're going to get is going to, if it's in June, going to be using the June pre-seen material. If it's in September, it will be written using the September pre-seen material. So a really good preparation for you to understand that pre-seen. Also to have familiarity with the ACCA platform. It's going to be done on the ACCA platform, and it's not just marked, as I say, lots of feedbacks, lots of comments, and they're going to be coming from actual SPL markers. You will get a video debrief, which will explain to you, well, you could have gone that way, but if you went that way and you said that, you would have got some marks. Yep. I'll also create a realistic answer so you can see what a student who was fairly well prepared could have done, in contrast to maybe the more tutorial answers you will get from the ACCA. And we'll also, after each mock, have a little bit of a Zoom debrief chat where you can ask any questions you want. So yeah, pretty good offering. I've refined that over many years, and that is definitely the way how you're going to pass your exam. I think having me on the end of your phone via WhatsApp whenever you want to contact me is a really valuable resource. What about if you do have a problem? Well, as I just said, 24/7 WhatsApp support right up to the day of the exam. Yep. And after the mocks, we can collectively kind of share what we did well, what we could improve on in Zoom chats. So let me just finish off by picking up a couple of questions which I haven't had a look at. Got a question here where someone said they failed SPL with 40 marks a couple of years ago. They then did advanced tax and they got 71, and they don't quite understand why they only got 40 in SPL. Well, it would depend on how you studied and how you prepared, but I think it's important to point out that SPL is a very, very different exam to advanced tax. I had a student recently who actually won the world prize in advanced tax, and they really struggled on SPL because they were trying to apply the learning style they use for tax, where it's a lot of learning of, theory and stuff, which doesn't work on SPL. SPL is about application. It's not about learning. And, I had to work quite hard with this student to get them to change their mindset, but change it they did, and they passed. But yeah, you would think they would fly through SPL if they won a prize in tax, and that wasn't the case. What other question did I get? This person then goes on to say, should I self-study or should I do a course? Well, that's your call, really, but it's up to you. When I studied, I definitely did courses. There's no way I could have got through my exams without help. And in fact, back then there wasn't online courses. I didn't live in a major city. I used to get the train at like 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning for 2 hours, and a train 2 hours back just to go and listen to this particular lecturer, because I knew this particular lecturer would get me through the exam, which he did. So thank you, Fred Keir, if you are listening in. That's your call. But courses are, if successful, and there's plenty of good feedback on them, the way to make sure you get qualified as soon as possible, the way so that you can double or triple your salary as soon as possible. So I think you need to, think about how much do you want this and why do you want it. As I said earlier, what's your why? Another question. Do I go through the pre-seen material with my students? Yeah, of course I do. I actually spend 3 hours, 24 hours a day writing a mock exam based on the pre-seen material. Yeah, I make my students actually digest it first. We then do a mock exam. I mark the mock exam with ACCA markers. I give lots of feedback on what the student did well and what they need to improve upon. And then we talk about the pre-seen material. So the way I do my courses, I like to teach my students to fish. If you just give someone a fish, they just wait for you to bring them a fish, whereas I'm not going to be there to bring fish in the exam. So my students understand how to fish. So they do that because they practice questions. And then once they've had a go, they reflect with me on a Zoom call in the context of the final mock exam to talk about, well, why did you do that? Why didn't you do that? And so on. So yes, not only do we go through the pre-seen, which to be honest, it's not a question flagger, but we go through a whole mock built around the pre-seen. So that's far more powerful. So if you can do a mock based on the pre-seen, that's very powerful. So thanks for that question. Do I have to use the name of a theory in the workplace? Thank you for that question. And the answer is definitely not. In the workplace was part of your questionnaire. Think about in the workplace, if you were asked, let's analyze our competition. And you said, according to Michael Porter, the competition can be analyzed using 5 separate forces. Everyone in the workplace is going to go, huh? What are you talking about? Yeah. Use theory to help structure and frame your answer, but do not reveal that theory in your answer. Yeah. It's your secret tool that you use to get a great answer. So thanks for that question. It's not professional to talk about theories. It's a workplace exam. You would never use theory in the workplace, so don't use it in the exam. Okay, thank you for that. That was a good question. Let me just have a look. Well, are there any more? No, I think that's it. So, great. What would I like you to do then? What would I like you to do? Well, I'd like you to take some action. Don't procrastinate too long. Yep. In terms of what is useful for you, in terms of preparation for SPL, well, if you haven't done the Ethics and Professional Skills module, get on with it. It's just a good brain conditioner for SPL. What else would I say? Well, if you are committed to doing the exam in either June or September, you need to get a timetable of living. A timetable of living will help you develop a routine. A routine will make sure that you study. You will need no willpower to study because you'll have established a routine. Okay. Anything else? Well, the final thing maybe, if you can, it's not the end of the world if you don't, but it will make SPL easier. Why not read around a little bit using some of those resources I mentioned earlier? Okay, so thank you for your questions. Thank you for listening. All I want is for you to pass this exam. Please avoid all of the people on Facebook who have no credibility with the ACCA. Get yourself organised, pass this exam, and live your life exam-free as soon as possible. All the very best. And if you have any questions, go onto my link tree, get my WhatsApp, and send me a WhatsApp message. I wish you all the best of luck. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.